Hi, welcome back to Real Auto Reports right here at Real Auto Ranch with me, Jonathan McGrew. Today we have the real video, the real review on this 2015 Nissan Versa Note. This is the added package to the 2015 model lineup, the SR. So we're going to tell you all the details we can think of in the next 10-15 minutes or so. So let's jump in the driver's seat and get going. Hi, so welcome back to Real Auto Reports. We're hitting the road here for our real video in this 2015 Nissan Versa Note. And this is the all-new package for 2015. This is the SR. And so this fits right about midway in the model line. It's not the top, and it's not the bottom. You have your S, your S Plus, you have your well, gosh, you have to almost look now. There's so many. You have your SV, which is your middle of the road. You have your SR now, and your SL, which is the top of the line. Kind of funny because I remember back when the SV Maxima was the most luxurious one you could buy back in 2009. So they've been kind of playing with the model packages here on these Nissan vehicles, and this is a good add. Actually, I like this vehicle quite a bit. You have your lovely satellite radio, color screen here, and if I come to a full stop here outside of Real Auto Ranch and I put it in reverse, you have your standard rear backup camera, and it's color, it's clear, and it's actually nice to have even on such a small vehicle as this 2015 Nissan Versa Note. Now, as we get out on the road here, this vehicle has 109 horsepower. It has 107 foot-pounds of torque, and that's all coming from a 1.6 liter four-cylinder engine. Now, this has not really changed since the last time we reviewed the Versa Note here at Real Auto Reports. And we liked the Note then as well. In fact, this is a vehicle that is competing with things like the Toyota Yaris. It's going to compete with the Ford Fiesta. And it's also going to compete with things like the Chevrolet Sonic and those kind of Cruise. And well, maybe not the Cruise so much, but definitely the Sonic and some of the other small cars out there. Yeah, of course, you're going to be competing with some of the Hyundai and the Kia brands as well. This vehicle, though, you're going to notice when you get out on the road and you start to drive it that it is a live vehicle. You have, because of its price point, just a hair over in the SR, $19,000, which is great value for having XM and the color screen and all of that. You're going to notice it's live. There's road noise, there's some wind noise, there's, see, we just transferred back onto some rougher macadam. You get that kind of sound coming through the vehicle. Also, when you step on the gas, you're definitely going to hear that engine noise. And it's just something you expect from a vehicle in this price point and being a commuter car. However, I don't think it is horrible. Actually, I think it's pretty good for the class. And we will comment, we know that we're getting the Toyota Yaris here soon for 2015. So we'll comment on it versus this one as well. And maybe we'll even do a comparison video on the two in case you're looking to buy one of these in-town cars. Now, I like the Versa Note. I think it's a neat little car. In fact, my mother, who also helps film here at Real Auto Reports, Pat McGrew, or PC, as some of you know her, she had one of these for about a week and a half out in Zurich, out there in Europe, and she said she really liked the vehicle. It was easy to drive on those small streets and park in the tight parking spaces. And moreover, it was just a good vehicle, even on fuel economy and on just running about and being easy to use. Now, of course, we tend to go with the CVT automatic in the US, but you can still get this in a manual transmission. Your fuel economy is going to be about a 35 mile per gallon combined. It's going to be 31 in the city and 40 out on the highway. Not necessarily the best in class, but it's definitely right there in competition with all the other vehicles in this kind of compact market. This is a vehicle that has good innovation in it as well from Nissan. So you do have the steering wheel controls and you have your trip computer in the center. There are some neat additions for 2015 as well, including the turn signals in the mirrors for the SR. That's an SR feature where you start to see the turn signals in the mirror, and the revised mirror design. So if you look back at our previous review, you're going to notice that these outside wing mirrors are a little different. You also have a digital trip, temperature gauge, and odometer, as well as a digital fuel gauge in this vehicle. So it has that sense of being current in the technology. Now we're gonna kind of throw this through the corners here so you can see how that goes. And what you're gonna notice is that even though it seems like it should be a top-heavy vehicle, it really isn't all that top-heavy. It is a vehicle that has, I think, a good driving experience, and it's front-wheel drive, so you're gonna notice that it tends to understeer more than oversteer, which means that if you come in hot into a corner, it's going to push that nose out a little bit, but it's very controlled being front-wheel drive. The other thing I like about this Nissan Versa Note is the innovation in the load floors in the back. Yes, in this vehicle you have the option of the storage. Boy, you know, sometimes you have that variable load floor in the back where you can change it up and make it more flexible for the things that you're hauling. Of course, you can also fold the rear seats down and have more room for packages and luggage. It's a vehicle that, as I said, will be comfortable with 4 people in the car, 5 in a pinch. Really, 4 is where you're going to be most comfortable. And we have had people in Versa Notes up to an hour and a half at a time, where they are riding up to, you know, Fort Collins or whatever with us, and it was a comfortable experience. The worst part about it is the noise from the engine, really, because as you can see, when I really get on the gas here, it does wind up, and especially with that CVT, it's going to hold those gears and give you a fair bit of engine sound coming through the cabin. But you do have a good sound system, and you have the color display, the wheel controls for your presets, and of course your cruise control here, and the voice speak for the Bluetooth. That's the other thing in 2015 that is upgraded for the second model year of the Nissan Versa Note. You have Bluetooth standard across all of the model lines. Now, some features that you might not even think to ask about that have been changed for 2015. You have the map light that has been added to the base S model, so that's a new improvement as well. And you also have the multifunction trip computer that we have on this SR added to the SV and up. So that's kind of nice too from a driving perspective and a usability perspective. You also have, I mean, from my perspective, you have this neat thing about having great fuel economy and drivability, but in the SR, they really think that this is going to be a standout package because it adds those 16-inch machined wheels. Yeah, there we go. There goes the engine noise. Okay, back down, boy. Down, boy. So this vehicle I like a lot. I think it's great for an in-town vehicle. You have your easy-to-reach controls, mirrors here. You have, of course, traction control standard. You have your power windows, power door locks. Nice accents with the chrome trim and the satin finish on the sides. And, of course, I turned the wipers on there. You have, well, some neat features like this for the visor that you might not think to look for in a car like this. Of course, your mirror on both driver and passenger side. We talked about the Bluetooth. It's just a neat little car. And from a driving perspective, well, when you're driving this vehicle, you know, we're on macadam here. You have that little bit of extra road noise. But the suspension is nice. It is not super bumpy. It's not super stiff. It doesn't wallow through the corners, as I mentioned. It's a vehicle that has a nice ride. It's not overly sprung, so it's not too soft. It won't kind of make you feel like you're bouncing around like a Dishevo. It's a vehicle that I think they've put a lot of thought into the fact that people are going to be driving it daily on rough streets and in environments that require you to go over speed bumps and around parking garages. And so it's a nice, smooth experience with not too much wheel transference of those bumps. In fact, the wheel feels very still when we're going over these rougher patches and manholes, as you can see here, and the camera's not bouncing around. And the other thing you can kind of notice is if you see the seat, you can see how much that is vibrating in all the different cars we test. That kind of gives you a sense of how much is being transferred through the vehicle. Again, this vehicle won't be for everybody, but if you're in the market for a vehicle that has some neat features, and the suede-like interior here is a nice option with the orange piping and orange stripes, or it's not piping, but orange cross-stitching is what I was talking about here along the edges of the seat, and then you have this lovely stripe detail down the center, and you also have that suede-like material, and I say suede-like because it is synthetic. That is all SR option package right there. That's the SR that adds the suede-like, and it's going to be just below your top of the line SL. Now, what we don't have in this vehicle are heated seats, and that's really because of the price point and the type of vehicle it is. And you will find heated seats on other competing cars to this, and in fact you might be able to get them on the SR. I'd actually have to check on that, because that has become a critical option for a lot of people, no matter what size car they're buying. But I'll tell you, these suede seats will not get as cold as leather or leather-like seats, and they are super comfortable. They have a nice bolster here in the side, and they're, well, hopefully easy to keep. The one thing about suede is they tend to pick up things like hair off your clothing, dog hair and such. So you might have to spend a little bit more time brushing and cleaning them with the vacuum because of that. So that's something to keep in mind. But I like that these economy cars are not suffering from the Econobox reputation of the 80s, where everything rattled, everything was hard plastic, the materials were vinyl, and really they just weren't all that pleasant to drive. You drove them because, well, maybe that's all that you could afford, or maybe that's all that you felt you needed. But today you get cars that have these great technology features like Bluetooth and the turn signals in the mirror and keyless entry. It doesn't have a smart key, but it does have keyless entry, power windows, power door locks, air conditioning. No climate control in this model, but still a lot of really good features for the money. Right about $19,000 is tested in this SR, just a hair over $19,180 and some change. So take a look at it if you're in the market. You're going to have great gas mileage, decent power, and well, you'll be able to park just about anywhere, at least here in the States. So we'll have the real wrap-up coming up for you next, and well, stay tuned. So that's the real video, the real review on the 2015 Nissan Versa Note SR. This is a neat little commuter car. It's great for in-town, easy to park, and has a good driving sensibility about it. It holds the road well, it doesn't lean too much, and, well, the gerbils spin pretty fast under the hood, making a bit of noise, meaning that 1.6 liter 4-cylinder engine. But you have good power, 109 horsepower and 107 foot-pounds of torque. Coming out of this car is pretty impressive, all things being equal, with a 31 mile per gallon in town, a 35 combined, which means, yes, that number's pushing up. That combined rating is the 40 miles per gallon out on the freeway. Now, if you're driving in town, the numbers you really care about are the combined and the 31 miles per gallon in the city, and that's coming out of this continuously variable transmission. This car is great in terms of being a city car. It has good rear passenger room for 4 passengers. You can fit 5 in a pinch, and the rear seats fold fairly flat to give you as much cargo room as possible when you are using it in your daily business. I think it's one you should check out and compare it to the Toyota Yaris, of course, the Ford Fiesta, the Chevrolet Spark, and a bunch of other cars out there on the market for from Hyundai and Kia. There's a lot of cars that will compete for your attention, but the Nissan in the new SR package has some pretty cool features, so make sure you give it a look. I'm Jonathan McGrew, right here at Real Auto Reports, coming to you live from Real Auto Ranch, and we'll see you down the road.